Good evening. The Finance and Law Subcommittee shall come to order. Today is Wednesday, December 18th, 5:45 p.m., I believe time is, 5:46. First up, we have attendance. We have Mr. Vieira, Mrs. Shavs, and myself. First item on the agenda, we have a special education expense service report. See attached memo. Mrs. Monahan, please.
Thank you, Dr. DeMello. Again, this is our monthly update for contracted legal services from Lions Law Group. For FY25, we have a budget of $50,000. For September of 2024, for the services rendered was $6,468, which totals up to $22,617 year to date, which leaves us our balance currently at $27,383 for special ed and student services related matters.
Excellent. Any questions, concerns, wishes of the committee?
Motion to accept the report.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next up, we have item 2, BOH, which stands for Board of Health Update Report. See attached memo. Mr. Vieira?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question. The vote that we took at the last school committee meeting, I thought it was to get an update from the Board of Health at the first of the year on long-range planning and public property report. My recollection of the vote was to include Board of Health inspections. When the Board of Health comes and inspects, that would be part of the facilities update.
So you're talking about the subcommittee when we met?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I also, I was there, of course, I'm a subcommittee member of that committee.
I don't know if there was any ambiguities or, I mean, clearly the,
I think the concern, who else was on that committee? Myself?
Mr. Enos.
We were absent that day, or were you there? I'm sorry, okay. So I think the recollection was that we couldn't get a complete report until after the holidays because there were some missing items that had to be done while school was not in session.
Correct. It was in a high-traffic area, and the work couldn't be performed, and during school hours, so it would either A, have to be done on the weekend, or it would have to be done during the school break, and it would probably take a time frame till the first of the year
If I could, I would love to read out the report a little bit so you can understand of what we presented. Correct, it was what we discussed at the meeting, at the long-range planning. So during that long-range planning, all the Board of Health items are listed in here, in that, behind it. And the only item that is outstanding, like you said, it was gonna be done in a high-traffic area, is one is going to be done at the high school, and it's actually going to be done this weekend.
So again, I thought the purpose of the vote was to be informed, not to, when the Board of Health was here and what the report entailed and what the work was required would be part of the facilities, not.
So we may have misinterpreted the motion. So what you have in front of you, and this is just one, this is a sample of what you'll be getting moving forward, and we can provide the appropriate backup, because this can serve as a summary as in addition to all the reports. So am I hearing that instead of coming to Finance and Law, those reports will just go to the long-range planning meeting, not Finance and Law?
Well, I think the intent was to kind of, again, this all started with a public, a citizen reaching out to me. I don't know if you got the same call regarding
Similarly, yeah.
issues with our schools where there were Board of Health reports now being publicly advertised in the city website, okay? And when the question was asked to me, are you aware of these violations? I said I had no idea, but I look into it. I prompted a call to the superintendent, and then, of course, we came together as a subcommittee to better evaluate the reports that I believe you, Mr. Vieira, went down to the Board of Health to collect.
I did, yes.
A series of reports for the last three.
And I printed some off their website.
Off the
which is
website,
public.
but they weren't all there. So I think the intent is to start the academic year in January when we came back with a clean bill of health, and eventually have the food service director come before us, I think that was mentioned too, to give us a report, because I don't think we've seen the food service director here for a while.
So I'm still, pardon my ignorance, so we're not to bring this report, you don't want this, the committee, the Finance and Law Committee does not want this report as part of Mark Freitas's facilities update, which, that was my interpretation, that when Mr. Freitas does his monthly facilities report, that we will go, if the Board of Health had conducted their inspections, that we would attach that to Mr. Freitas's facilities report, so it would be one encompassing report covering all facilities. But am I hearing something different?
No.
That we rather have this go through long range?
No, I think the only step that's missing is go through long range, and then we report out as a subcommittee to,
So it's not coming here?
well, no, hold on, Superintendent. Then we eventually get the master report, right? Because they come out 4 times a year, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Again, I thought it was pertaining to the Board of Health reports themselves when they
Right.
were conducted. 'Cause
Specifically
how else
to the
would we
Board of
have an awareness of when they're conducted other than through that process?
Right.
So
So,
we would bring them to Finance Law as part of the facilities report.
but again, some of these violations went back, 6 months, 9 months to the last academic year. We never heard
We
about
talked
it.
about moving forward.
Right, so,
So if they're gonna happen 4 times a year, so again, maybe we should talk offline on
Okay,
how the
absolutely,
committee wants to
sure.
streamline this,
Sure.
because for transparency purposes, this meeting is televised, so anyone who's watching the meeting will see this, they're not gonna see this, they're not gonna see long-range planning, they're gonna
We-
hear the report out.
Absolutely.
So for
right.
transparency purposes, we thought this would be more transparent for the public, but
Yeah.
we'll accommodate the wishes of the committee.
no, and again, that's why we're here, because we want to be transparent. That's why we called the subcommittee meeting, because we had public outcry saying that our schools were not in the best of state of sanitary conditions. Not all of them, some issues that were there, and was brought to my attention. We convened the subcommittee, and I don't want to drag this on, but, I think we're circumventing a subcommittee where we shouldn't, because there's an action item that's not complete within the subcommittee that is expecting a deliverable, from what I understood, after the new year.
And I just
When-
wanna be clear that the intention was not to circumvent.
Right,
Because our intention was not to circumvent, our intention was to provide you with the report in the format that we interpreted, that we were gonna use moving forward when Mr. Freitas provides his monthly facilities report. We were gonna put it all together, so you would see the work orders as well as the Board of Health reports when they're completed. But we'll go through the long-range planning committee, that's fine.
And so the public also knows there's many subcommittee meetings that aren't televised, but I'm more than happy to televise all subcommittee meetings going forward.
Well, maybe that's a conversation we have to have with Mr. Jakes too.
Absolutely.
and they are public, so they can definitely come down at any time. So on item 2, Board of Health update report, what are the wishes of the committee? Do we want the report out today, or do you want to wait until the first, actually, we did say the first meeting in January.
We were specific.
Right, so we were
I just-
specific.
I want to do what we
So,
said we were going to do.
it's up to you, Donna, and Mrs. Shavs and Mr. Viera, if you want it out tonight, or if you want to wait for the actual completion of all the outstanding items, which was supposed to be delivered by the first meeting in January.
I personally don't see a problem with it being put into this report, because to me it makes sense, but I understand what you're saying, that this was something that came from your subcommittee, so it may need to be reported back to your subcommittee, so I'm
I'd
fine.
motion to table the item.
Okay, I'll second it then.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, ayes have it. Item 3, facilities update, see attached memo, Mrs. Monahan.
Director of Facilities, Mark Freitas, provided us with the work orders from July 1st through December 12th. The work orders throughout the city of 60 buildings, just over 1,000 work orders were placed, and 785 of those work orders were done by Taunton Public Schools. So that's 78% of all work. If you look on the next page, you'll see, as we do each month, Mr. Freitas provided us with the number of work orders that are open, which is 168, and work orders that are closed, 843. And then below, you'll see the work orders open and closed per school.
Excellent.
Make a motion to accept the report and place on file.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Next up, we have item 3, state championship softball and wrestling team, see attached memo. I didn't find a memo in my packet. Anybody have a memo? No. Does anybody have it in their packet?
Not the wrestling, I have the softball.
It's
Is it
softball.
the wrestling? Oh, yeah,
both.
I have,
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I do.
It talked about a field trip. They were invited to a Celtics game. Their
Yeah.
families were invited. I did see it in my packet. but I can't place my
Okay, so
finger on it at the
I guess I
moment.
can read it. I mean, because this is the first time saying, maybe it wasn't in my packet. I don't remember seeing this. From finance, to the Finance and Law Subcommittee, from Brenda Monahan, Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations, authorization of expenses for state champions recognition. I'm pleased to share that the Taunton High School softball team has achieved an extraordinary milestone by winning the state championship. Additionally, we are thrilled to recognize our 2 state champion wrestlers who brought home individual titles earlier this year. To appropriately honor these achievements, we have planned several recognition activities. These include, number 1, commemorative items such as championship jackets and rings to celebrate their success. Number 2, an invitation to attend a Boston Celtics home game on December 27th versus the Indiana Pacers, where the softball team and the 2 state champion wrestlers will be special guests. As these expenses fall outside of our standard budget allocation, I'm requesting authorization from the school committee to cover the costs associated with these initiatives, which we pay through the athletic revolving account. Thank you for consideration. I appreciate your support in this matter, and please join me in extending heartfelt congratulations to the team, their coaches, and the state champion wrestlers for their outstanding accomplishments. And there's a note here that this is athletic, what is this, Superintendent? I'm sorry.
No, just in case there was a question regarding the balance of the athletic revolving account, there's $320,000 in the athletic revolving account, so there's plenty of funds to cover this expense to honor athlete trips.
Okay. What is this gonna cost, do we know?
All in, will probably be, with the jackets and the rings and the tickets, probably around 10,000, all in.
Okay. Questions, Mr. Vieira?
Is a cap on it appropriate, or do you want to just, you think it's good the way it is presented? Yeah?
I mean, if you want an itemized breakdown, I can provide an itemized breakdown, but we're just looking for authorization to use the funds that we approved in the athletic revolving account to cover all the expenses. And it's not gonna be anything, I mean, we're not covering their food, it's just gonna be transportation, the tickets, the jackets, and the state championship rings.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Great.
Thank you, guys.
Indiana Pacers. That should be a win for the Celtics. Next up, we have the DECA field trip chaperone. See attached memo. I guess Mrs. Monahan?
So on January 9th in 2025, 158 students from Taunton High School's DECA chapter will be attending regional DECA competition in Hyannis. Per our field trip policy, which requires 1 chaperone for every 10 students, this event will require 15 adult chaperones. To minimize the impact on day-to-day operations at Taunton High School, Mr. McPhail, which is the DECA advisor, plans to bring 5 staff members from his department to serve as chaperones. The remaining 6 chaperone slots will be filled by caregivers of students participating in the competition. This reason for this is to significantly reduce the number of THS staff required to attend, ensuring that classes remain covered by content-certified teachers rather than substitutes, which will directly benefit student learning. Right now, our current policy, which is outlined in the the MASC website, does not explicitly address covering costs for caregiver chaperones. Therefore, I'm requesting that the Finance and Law Subcommittee authorize the school department to cover hotel costs for these caregivers from the THS CVTE budget. The estimated cost for the accommodation is approximately $1,750 for these 6 chaperones. It is worth noting that while this type of expense has been approved in the past, it has not occurred in this scale. As such, it is important to notify the city auditor that this request in payment will require the committee's authorization. Additionally, I recommend that the field trip policy be revised in the near future to address situations involving caregiver chaperones. This would provide greater clarity and guidance for similar events for the future and reduce need for case-by-case requests. Finally, of course, all this jargon, I definitely want to go ahead and join me in wishing our students the best of luck. This competition will determine who advances to the state level and potentially to the national competition. And we, of course, are proud of their efforts and are committed to supporting them on their journey.
Okay, good. Wishes of the committee?
I can make a motion that we approve it.
Okay.
Second.
On discussion, so just to clear things up, you mentioned 5 chaperones. I believe it's a total of 15 chaperones, including our staff, correct?
5 teachers,
10. Gotcha, okay.
Yep.
And this $1,750 figure is for those 15 chaperones, including our teachers? Because it's only one night, right? They're only staying there one night. So it's only $100-some odd dollars
It's for the 10 chaperones.
for the 10 chaperones
$75 a night.
per room. Gotcha, okay. And just for the public at home, when the agenda was published, the amount, approximate amount was stated as $1,650, and there was a revision, which was made on the 16th of December, to clearly state that it was $1,750, okay? So people at home, that if they saw the agenda online, it's the $1,750 number we're approving tonight. So that's my first point of discussion. The second point of discussion, the blanket authorization, I'm not in favor of that for a couple of reasons. Every trip is unique. We don't know, I mean, we could be going to a hotel that's costing $400 a night. We don't know what that is. So I guess the best course of action, as the motion was made by Mrs. Shav, is we're just approving the $1,750 for this trip. Is that correct?
Just this trip.
Gotcha,
That's all
okay.
we're asking.
Okay, and no blanket authorization going down the road. Okay, great.
We don't have a policy that will cover us moving forward.
Yeah, but I mean, the policy, again, you know, every trip is unique. This happens how many times a year?
No, the policy, we can specify any concerns you might have regarding any blanket. Like, the policy could state that we bring it to the committee and get your authorization, like we're doing right now.
Right, which is fine, I guess. I mean, you know, we have one of these a year. I think DECA's once, twice a year.
They're gonna have
Three a year.
their Boston trip, and then they're gonna have the
Yeah.
international trip, and then we also have other organizations like Skills USA.
Ah.
So just to have something in place, whatever protocol we'll follow, just so we, Mrs. Moynihan, the business office, and also the people at the high school, are organizing these trips, they know the procedures and the policies
Yeah.
we gotta follow, that way they just don't take it for granted or just assume.
Right, yeah, and the policy is 1/10, the ratio, right? So I guess that's covered, and as far as granting a blanket, something to be discussed in the future. So the motion was seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, thank you. Next up, we have the bills payable. First off, we have bills payable for FY '25, and for the folks at home, there was a typo on the bills payable. It was listed as 1 million, there was a 1 missing, so the amount that's on discussion for tonight for approval is the amount of $1,111,401.51. Wishes of the committee.
Motion to approve in the amount stated.
Seconded on discussion.
Second on discussion, Mr. Shavs.
I have 4 questions. Page 1, the first one, that bell for, it says graduation. What was that for?
Those are for the diploma covers.
Okay. Page 5, Base 10 Assets LLC for the $1,590.55. It says other student activities.
That what, Sean, I'm sorry, Bay State interpreters?
Base 10 Assets
Okay.
on page 5, down to the
Mine,
bottom.
obviously, so here it is, sorry about that. These are for the other student activities, they are for the robotics club supplies.
Okay. Page 8, City of Boston, programs with others. I didn't know what the program that was.
These are for specialized programs, it's for one student for September and October tuition.
Oh, it's a tuition one. Oh, okay. That one I didn't know. And the last one was on page 23, that rugby architectural building products for $9,999.99.
That is for the THS wood shop supplies.
Wood shop supplies.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I had for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shavs. Mr. Viera.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Page 4, Attuned Education Partners LLC in the amount of $16,667.
They are professional development, and that was for development, that professional development that was provided for us in July.
July, okay. And then on page 29, Vex Robotics.
Dex Robotics, and again, those are robotics club supplies.
So the supplies are for,
Robotics, so class robotics, excuse me, not club, class.
And if I could just add, if anybody happens to be at the high school tomorrow or Friday, in the middle of the lobby, you'll actually see they have the ring for the robotics team to practice with their robots.
oh, that's excellent.
I was there today.
Wonderful news. Thank you for sharing that, Superintendent. Those conclude my questions. Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Vieira. Mrs. Monahan, I have just a few. On page 4, again, we have the voucher number, it's voucher 0, but PO number 2502159, the amount of $12,500. I think I've repeatedly asked for an update from this organization, and I don't know when they're coming in, because I'm not gonna vote yes on this. Okay, sorry, Mr. Barata.
I've actually had 2 meetings in person and 1 virtual with AHS, identifying when they provide services, to what students they provide services, and they provide with monthly reports. So if superintendent directs me, I can release it to the monthly reports, and I will continue to follow up with them, especially as they want to make more inroads with supporting our overaged or older students, multilingual learners that are in, registering at the high school, because they want to reach out and support them as well as part of our task force.
So you'd like to provide us with monthly reports? They provide us
Yes,
with
they're
monthly?
providing me now, going back to October, they're providing me now with monthly reports.
Okay.
We'll put it in the next finance and law packet.
All right. Yeah, again, because this was a concern last year, they came in the end of the academic year with a presentation that I think was put together the day of, that didn't give us any information, and I'm not going to be signing off on something that we're not getting a return on, so I guess I'll wait for the next report. Mr. Barata, thank you so much. Page number 8. Oh, Mrs. Shaw, City of Boston, I had the same question. Page 10. So we have one of our employees that went on a conference, I believe. That's the item for $1,325.95, hotel and all that. Why didn't we use the P card for the hotel?
Sometimes what will happen is they will go ahead and put forth a PD form, and they did not request the P card. I didn't see this one, but I could always go ahead and work with the curriculum office to see if there's, when a PD form comes and there is asking for pricing or some amount to be reimbursed, to reach out to the staff member to use the P card instead.
Okay, but that would be after the fact, right? I mean,
Well, no, because they have to get the approval from the curriculum office.
okay.
And then, so when they review that, we will go ahead and reach out to the staff member to use the P card to pay for the program.
Okay, all right, so this one slipped, that's okay, but as long as they, there's an education component to this, to the traveler, so that they're aware too. I mean, I hate people waiting for money. This is $1,325 that they've been waiting for a while, so,
They have to give it within 15 days anyway, so we do a lot faster than it used to, but again, we'd rather use the P card.
Absolutely. And let's see, one last item I have, let's see. Page 20, I've already addressed an item with the superintendent on page 20. So that's good. And last but not least, page 29, we have a couple of PDs to University of Florida, University of Kansas, Center for Research. I just get sometimes, not upset, but better understanding of why we're going out to Florida and Kansas when we have so many prestigious universities within almost walking distance. I know sometimes some of this stuff is pretty specialized, but
Mr. Barata can speak to it.
So the University of Florida actually has to do with the literacy component. It's called UFly. It's a early intervention phonemic awareness structured learning program, which our Title I teachers use. So that PD is directly with them for the resources we've purchased. The University of Kansas actually has to work with Lisa Deeker. She used to be at another site. She's actually now University of Kansas, I believe. That's through the 240 grant, and she's actually making site visits with building principals and such, going through looking at the inclusion model, along with providing PD, and actually she's doing a study of Taunton Public Schools and the effectiveness of co-teaching, which I don't want to speak for Ms. Moynihan, but I think the end of this year, maybe early next year, she's going to produce a report on behalf of Taunton Public Schools to look at what progress we have made.
Great, thank you, Mr. Barata. And that's it for me, so the motion was made and seconded. I'm going to just vote to record my vote on page 4, PO number 2522159, the amount of $12,500. I'm voting present on that. So if the maker of the motion could kindly include that in the amendment.
I'm sorry, so you want me to
Just so amend the motion to.
just amend the motion
That I'm voting
that
present.
you're voting present for that 12,500?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
You second.
I think I made the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, you
Oh.
made the
Yeah,
motion.
I will
I'm sorry.
amend the motion.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I thought I did, but that's
Motion's
okay.
been made, amended by Mr. Viera, seconded by Mrs. Shavs.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Good. That was FY '25. Now, FY '24, the amount payable is $83,691. What are the wishes of the committee on that?
Motion to approve in the amount of $83,691.
Seconded.
Okay, let me see if I have any notes on that one. So, I guess my concern is, FY '24, this is it?
Yes, it should be. We have, this is our last warrant, so there could be some outstanding, yes, a few here and there, but we have really driven down the FY '24 open POs that were outstanding.
Okay, great. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Ayes have it, thank you. Motion to adjourn be in order.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Ayes have it, we are adjourned, thank you.